How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Cash Flow, the podcast. We are shooting episode 5 today. I'm one of your hosts, Amit Dogan, and I'm here with...
Oh, I'm Caesar Dogan, guys. Yes.
How's it going?
Not bad, not bad. What about you?
Can't complain. We were speaking to our producer, and he had actually asked us why there are so many different real estate applications, softwares, and programs.
Realtor.ca and so on and so forth.
House Sigma, Zolo.
Yeah, House Sigma, exactly.
And I feel like the reason why is because each and every single website is unique in its own way. For example, House Sigma, it has an in-depth sort of understanding of the neighborhood, the demographic, the income, the income that's prevalent within that, geographic location.
Mm-hmm.
And there's obviously the previous solds and all those sorts of things. But what do you think?
Well, different applications offer different endpoints. So if you use, let's say, one of the most common ones, I actually use this, I think it's amazing, is House Sigma.
Yeah.
So it will show you all of the sold in that area. It will show you the sold history of the property. So it's very useful. For instance, Realtor.ca doesn't provide that. Realtors, but at the same time, House Sigma, they try to have their own agents. So they try to pitch you their own agents. So you won't be able to find the agent for that particular listing, whereas Realtor.ca will.
Yeah.
So these are Zolo, for instance. It's very popular if you want to look at U.S. or commercial leads. Zolo, I think, is stronger in that area. You can, even if you were to, let's say, Google search commercial lease in Vaughan, one of the first pop-outs would be it would be Zolo, for instance.
There's also another website called LoopNet or something like that.
There's so many.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
LoopNet.
LoopNet, I feel like, is just strictly targeted for commercial leases.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different because for real estate agents, I'm pretty sure you guys have your TREB and your MLS that you can access.
Yeah.
But do the general public have access to the MLS?
No, they do not.
Okay.
You need to have a PIN. You need to be a TREB member if you're in Toronto.
Okay.
If you're in other neighborhood, like other boards, you need to have access to it.
Okay.
But I would actually strongly recommend House Sigma. I think it's very, very useful.
It's
I
very-
use it as a starting point,
But-
and
but-
then later on.
But the side note to that is that now people ask, what happened to the traditional way to search for a home? Get yourself a trusted realtor and not look at any of these other sites.
Curiosity too, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to know what's going on myself. Like the real estate agent can offer you so much. So
but
whereas
as
with you just look at different neighborhoods. I don't know, your neighbor's property up for sale. You know what it's listed for. You see it. But then you look at, when did this guy buy this? How much did he buy it for?
So
Maybe
do
he
you
moved in.
prefer your buyer or seller to be more informed prior to coming to you? You do prefer that?
Yes, I like that.
And
I like that.
And I think that they would also have an understanding as to what to expect. So the expectation is already there. But also, I feel like it's easier when the client is also looking as well, because I feel like the agent can send them 10, 20 different listings, but there's just like this one unique thing that they're looking for within the property. So I think it definitely helps out by them also searching as well. And I think that House Sigma is an awesome software, and we're not sponsoring this to House Sigma. Or
There's
anything,
no
but-
sponsorship. Yeah.
But House Sigma, I feel like it's very, very user friendly, and it's easy to navigate within the website.
Yeah, definitely.
So
So now what about when it comes to, all right, I want to promote things on my own website. Now, would you use your website as a portal, or would you actually take your listing and put it on Realtor.ca? Would you even bother with your website anymore?
No, I actually do. If you go to CaesarHomes.ca, you'll actually see different listings that I have, that other agent friends of mine that have pre-construction.
On your website?
Yeah, on my website.
And
all that.
So why did you do that? Why did you keep your website still as your main hub for, hey, come and check out what I have, opposed to going to Realtor.ca?
Well, let's say for pre-construction, you won't be able to do that. So
On Realtor.ca?
No, you won't be able to. So if it's a builder that's selling it, let's say Mattamy Homes, they have, I don't know, in Innisfil, they have a subdivision project that they're doing. As a platinum agent, I can go there and actually on my own website give you everything that you need. What's the price point? Where is it? The map of it, what's going on there, all of the details. Whereas you won't be able to get that on Realtor.ca. You won't be able to get all of that information there to begin with.
Does the commission base get affected when you use a platform like that?
Realtor.ca?
Realtor.ca
No,
or
no, no.
Zulu
It's-
or.
These are all third
House
party.
Sigma?
They get all of their information from MLS.
But how do you have to split your commission?
No.
Is what I mean.
No. You don't
No.
pay them anything for it. When you're actually filling the MLS sheet, you decide if you want it to be shown in these third-party platforms. If you don't want it, let's say, you don't have to.
Really?
Yeah, these are third-party. They're getting all of their information through whatever I input into the MLS system. All of it is in the MLS system.
These kind of websites remind me of like Expedia.ca and all that. It's kind of like you can get a travel agent, or you can just go on there, scope it out, and then get a travel agent.
So, for instance, we've been talking about House Sigma. So you go to House Sigma, you'll find the specific property or whatever you're looking for, but you won't find the agent that listed that property, because House Sigma wants you to use their own agent, where they're making a commission, a split from there.
Yeah.
Now, whole pause right there.
Yeah.
Now, you're telling me now House Sigma has their own agents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
have their own brokerage.
Yeah.
Now, that's a complete game changer.
Yeah, of course.
So why would someone like Century 21 or Remax and all that agree to put their properties and their agents on these third-party websites?
Well, I feel like it isn't very common to see a House Sigma agent. That's me personally. I don't really
you do
see them
see it.
often.
Really?
Yeah, even Zolo. There's Zolo Realty.
Yes, exactly.
It's a brokerage on its own too, and you'll see it as well. So why would they actually allow for it? For one, it's the actual agent that wants it. It's not the brokerage.
Which agent?
So let's say if I'm listing a property, I'm currently with Right at Home. So if I am listing a property, I want that property to be everywhere.
As
At the end
many
of it,
sites as you can.
yeah, of course, I want exposure. So whether I am double ending the deal or not, at the end of the day, I want my client to get the maximum value for that property. And if it means that I post it so that it's on House Sigma and a potential House Sigma agent comes along, I'm okay with it. Let them make their money.
Remax would be okay with that?
Yeah, they're all okay with it.
How interesting.
Yeah. Because it's all about exposure.
This is wild.
Yeah,
So now when a customer, all right, a buyer or seller stumbles upon like Realtor.ca I always use because it's a huge platform.
Yeah, I think it's the most common one.
Correct.
Probably.
So if I find a house in, let's say, Vaughan,
Yeah.
and I see the listing agent,
Yes.
I must connect only with that listing agent, right?
No. Why?
What do you
Let's
mean?
say you found the property. You call me up and you say, look, Caesar, I found this property. Do you mind just taking a look at it? Can you book an appointment? I go, okay, no problem. I'll book an appointment. There, what you're really doing is you're allowing that listing agent to double end the deal. There really isn't. Or alternatively, what they may do is assume that it's 5% commission. They may give a kickback of 1.5 back to the homeowner, the seller.
homeowner.
So for you, I personally would not recommend anyone double ending a deal. You leave the listing agent in a difficult situation as well.
Now, here's another big question.
Yeah.
The other big question is, with these platforms, a lot of homeowners are looking to post it themselves. Talk to me about that. Is that a good thing, a bad thing, or are we just looking for trouble by the homeowner posting it themselves? Or even, are they allowed to do that?
Yeah, they
So
are.
for sale by owners, is that
Yeah,
what he's at?
yeah.
Yeah. So I think private sales are always difficult.
No, but the laws have changed surrounding it.
Yeah.
So when was it? We actually went through all of this training. But in a nutshell, right now, a homeowner can put their property on MLS by themselves. They don't need an agent to do it for them.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
But yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They can put it on their own. You don't need an agent to do it. But what happens is you would have to put some sort of
So like
cooperation.
a disclaimer? Do you have to put a disclaimer saying sold by homeowner, like kind of like buy as is?
No, but they know that.
Who-
You're the listing person. It says your name.
But
So
you're-
it'll say
you're
Steph.
not
as the-
licensed to sell.
No. But they allowed that. They want to give homeowners greater flexibility in how they choose to do their own business.
So then I got to put you on the spot. Why would anybody get a realtor then, if that's the case?
So that they can get the best representation. I can represent myself in the legal field too. I think I have enough knowledge. So if I get a traffic violation, I usually
You would represent yourself.
Yeah, I typically do. But then depending on what it is and how big it is and how big of a ticket item it is,
Correct.
you know what, I should be getting legal representation.
So if you have a $1 million home, do you always recommend, look, get yourself a professional?
Always.
Yeah,
Always.
for sure.
Because you don't want to be stuck in the middle of all kinds of problems and you don't know how to answer, right?
Steph, we don't need you. We can do these videos
You're
ourselves.
absolutely right. But
I
you
have
choose to
all
get
of
someone
the
better.
microphones and the GoPros and all of these videos too, but I choose to pay you to get it professionally done.
Just because you know that you wanted to get it professionally done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with it. 2, I want to make
Exactly.
sure that everything is perfectly fine. 3, I want to hold you accountable. If there's something wrong, I say, look, last video, I looked like I was slouching.
Sure.
Why didn't you tell me?
Sure.
Oh, sit this way.
Of course.
So I hold you accountable. But if it's me, I like certain things. I'm like, okay, what is it? What happened?
And now, but the question comes now: have you ever had a homeowner that said, "Look, I think I might just list it myself"? Would you ever have to stop him and say, "Look, here's the pros and cons of what you're about to do"? Have you ever had this discussion?
No.
I think you actually had that recently, though. No?
Which one?
One in Angus.
Yeah.
You had to sit down and explain. Look, this is why you should get a representation. Is that not how the discussion went?
Because it's such a big ticket item, you really don't have to talk too much. Do you
What do you
really
mean?
want? Well, you're selling a house for 800,000. Let's say if you work with me, there is a higher likelihood of you making 870, 880, 900, if not more. You don't know how to negotiate with another agent.
I see.
Like, for instance, I know what the going rate is, and now I know what the situation is, and I know, like, let's say on average it's 10% increase. Like, when someone offers me something, I want a middleman in the middle. In fact, I would not list my own house myself. So if I owned the property, I wouldn't be the listing agent on it.
You wouldn't be.
No, I'd, let's say, get someone else to do it, a friend to do it.
Why? Too much conflict of interest?
No, it's not even that. When I'm speaking with a cooperating agent and he says, well, what do you want for this? I can't really say, you know what, let me go speak to the homeowner. I am the homeowner.
Exactly.
So I want that, just give me a minute, 5 minutes, whatever. Let me think about it. What's going on? Oh, you know what, the homeowner, we have this. You want the best price.
Wow.
So I want that sort of negotiate, like that space. I wouldn't do it.
Confidentiality, in a way.
I guess you could say that, but I would want, like, it's a better negotiation strategy. A lawyer doesn't represent themselves either. I don't know if you know that stuff. Typically,
a lawyer does not represent
no,
himself.
No, yeah, or herself.
Why is that?
Because most of them would hire another lawyer to represent.
I feel like the job is just like better done that way.
Yeah. Like, I'm not talking about application. I'm talking about litigation. Like, if you had to go to trial, you're representing yourself and you're a lawyer. Most often, they would not self-represent themselves.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the lawyers that I speak to, they say, look, I've had this issue. I hired a friend, another lawyer, to represent me.
So let's get back on track here. The pros and cons of having these online websites. Maybe you guys can discuss it a bit more. What are some of the drawbacks, actually?
The cons of using it is it may not give you, let's say House Sigma, it gives you an estimated value.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like
Not accurate.
No. I would say 60-70% of the time it's not accurate.
That's
But
huge
I feel like
con.
you can start
No, but
off
even
as a
what you-
benchmark with it, though.
Well, it
That
depends
is a
on what's
big
going
con.
on. So let's say there's 2 properties side by
Sure.
side. The exact same lot, same build, everything, top to bottom. If one of them, let's say hypothetically, just to give it for the, let's say it's 12 Anderson Street. And 12 Anderson Street sells for, let's say, 800,000. And 14 Anderson is now for sale. What do you think it should go for?
In and around the same price.
Okay.
But obviously the interior would make
That's exactly
biggest
it. So
difference.
House Sigma and these platforms wouldn't, like, the guy may have upgraded, or the person may have upgraded maybe 200,000. They may have fully finished interlocking, outside patio, gazebo, a hot tub that comes with it, a swimming pool. A swimming pool on average costs about 100,000 right now.
Isn't there
The
like a checklist? Isn't there?
No,
a
there is.
checklist?
Let's say, what about the inside? How can they tell?
It would be impossible.
Like, here at my office, I have upgraded baseboards. So this costs about double the price than typical colonial baseboards that you see. That's 4.5.
But it would
5
never be
inches.
shown
Yeah, you
if
won't.
you didn't.
Well, no,
list it
but
and
it's
say
not
it.
even that. House Sigma does not factor these in. Like, in my office, these vinyl planks that I have, they're luxury. These are $5.50. You can get it for $1.50.
This is a huge
So you don't know.
con
Well, they
because
don't
now
know
all of a
that.
sudden you're not getting your accurate listing. So what are you exactly looking at?
It
Well-
just gives you an idea.
Yeah, it gives you an idea, but at the same time, I don't think people use the website isn't to give you a quick home evaluation. Like, I feel like a software shouldn't be the, I guess, point of contact to get a home evaluation, right? I think you should contact a professional so that they can do the CMAs, which is a comparative market analysis based on the recently sold houses in the area that are similar in size, interior, all those sorts of things.
Or you got to be realistic. If you're very realistic and you're very pragmatic as a homeowner or as a person that's looking to buy, then you'll have an idea. Look at the interior pictures. A kitchen cabinet, let's say on average, it's about 20, 25,000. So one is updated, the other isn't. Add that. Say, okay, you know what? This should be about 25, 30K. Add that.
Estimate.
Make up.
I want to ask a question.
So you need to be realistic in it.
So say that, I don't know, a property has $150,000 worth of upgrades.
Yeah.
How much is that really? How much can you factor that into the sale price? Can you use all 150?
This is probably one of the best questions asked. So let's say that you spend $150,000 in upgrades. The
Yes.
property, one comparable property sold
Yes.
for 800, no updates. Yours with the 150 upgrade should be 950, right?
Sure.
But it should be more,
Why?
Why?
or it gets more. The reason why it gets more is the value. So 950 for you to get a, let's say, a mortgage, assuming that you qualify, you only have to literally put 90,000, 92,000. That's the minimum that you would have
Which
to
is
put.
how much percentage of that? Is?
It's like 9.5%.
Okay.
So for the first 500, it's
Okay.
5%. So 25,000 remaining, it's 10%. So give or take, it's about 90, 92,000 down payment that you would have to put.
Okay.
On the other property, so you're getting 150. So if I were to go and buy that $800,000 property, I spent, apart from the down payment, I would then have to come up with the hard cash of 150,000 to do that.
Definitely.
That's a big drawback.
It's huge.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm borrowing that money, technically speaking.
Of course.
So it's a win-win.
But
So
this is all technically.
This is all
speaking, but-
speculation,
Exactly.
obviously.
what do you mean?
Because we're going into technicality of things, right? But I don't think that's actually what's calculated with all of these people. Like, no one's gonna say, oh, because the down payment component and the hard cash that I have to spend, this property isn't actually worth 950.
No, but
it's worth $1 million.
See, I would say that the finished product, the person is willing to pay more.
Okay.
So they're saying this is completely done. I don't need to do anything. You know what? Instead of 950, I'm okay with
It's like
200.
ready to go in.
Yeah, exactly. I'll pay another 40,000.
Yeah.
So that $150,000 money that you've put will get you, let's say, 190, 200, if not more, depending on what the market is and how much. And sometimes you get people that are more, people that may make an emotional or impulsive decision. You're going to catch those buyers too.
Really?
I can see a partner saying, look, I love this. Everything is done. Let's just pay for it. Whereas a house that is, has zero upgrades, they're not going to get that reaction.
No.
Which one are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the one. Give me a piece of shit.
Really? Oh, and then do it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a definitely do it yourself kind of guy.
Yeah.
You see the potential where others may not.
I hate finished basements. I'd rather
because
have
you want to give
on-
it your touch.
Well, no, it's not even my touch. I want to make sure it's done properly.
To see the core foundation.
Wait,
of it.
Exactly. I can maximize it. I can put a walkout there.
Sure.
I can get the building permits.
Yeah,
I
if it's
can make
already
sure
sealed up,
that I don't know
that's
what
that.
this guy
That's
did.
right.
You know,
You don't know if there's any water leaks or cracks
So-
or whatever.
I was
You can
speaking
conceal
to
it.
I was speaking to a buddy of mine recently, and they were thinking about getting their basement redone. And because we're obviously in the real estate industry, they're like, how much value does it actually bring additionally to the property? Because personally, my father years ago, if you remember in Bradford, he did the basement,
Yeah.
but it didn't really add much value to the property.
Why is that? It should.
Exactly, which
Should.
is why I'm asking Caesar
Okay.
now.
Did yours have a separate entrance?
It did not.
There you go.
That's
it's
the
done.
main caveat to
So
it.
I have a property in Cambridge that I listed. We sold conditional. If you were to put about $15,000 to do a separate entrance, a walkout, you don't need to finish the basement. Just put that, and it has with a permit. You would probably get about $80,000 in return for that $15,000.
Wow.
A lot of people don't want to entertain it because they don't know if they're going to be approved for it. They
That-
don't
the
know.
permits for it, right?
Because finishing the basement, they can sort of see happening. But as soon as you start excavating, it's a full walkout. It just becomes a different ball game altogether.
Well, because when you do your own
'Cause it's
basement, you don't
intimidating.
need technically any permits. You just do it. Obviously.
I feel like
we
the
don't
term-
condone
Yeah,
you know, illegal behavior. But when you're
Yeah.
doing a walkout, it's
'Cause
mandatory permit.
it's excavation. It's a lot more intimidating.
100%.
So if someone's just digging, 10 feet, 8
Sure.
feet, you got to make sure that, I don't know, install a sump pump. You have to
course.
make sure that the weeping tile is there. You got to make sure that the concrete is poured.
It could
and
cost
the
you a
form-
lot
it could-
more if something
that's-
happens.
But if he were to go, if my client had the flexibility of putting another 15, 20,000 for about, with the building permits for about 15,000, you can actually do a walkout right now.
Okay. With the permits.
Yeah. It'll cost you maybe, I would say, $2,000 for the permits itself, and
expensive.
for about they'll
Expensive.
probably charge you about 1,000 to 1,500 for the actual drawings, maybe $500 or $300 in city fees. These are like rough
This
numbers.
is all approximate,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
I feel
so,
like-
and then you'd spend, let's say, 13 to 15, 16,000 depending. And don't
Just
forget,
for the walk-in.
yeah,
The walk
out.
Walk out. Yes.
Yeah, so you're actually from the outside. See, this is one of the issues that, like, people always misuse this word. A walkout means
Inside
if
to
you
outside?
can, from the basement, is the staircase inside the property or outside of the property?
Outside.
So that's a walkout. Because realistically speaking, if the staircase is inside the property, that's not a walk out, because you're not walking out. You're stepping up and then walking out. Because the staircase is consuming space inside the property. So maybe you lost about, let's say, 50, 60 square foot of space inside of the house. So the walkout adds a lot of value because you can save the space inside.
So do people actually use walk-in?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I've never
Do
heard
they?
of that.
Because you're like using up so much space.
Or
if you do walk in.
no, so let's say side entrances are
Yeah.
usually not walkout. Walkouts are usually at the back of the property or at the front of the property. These older properties, if you look at Davenport,
Correct.
everything,
Yeah, from the
it's
back.
usually from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
front.
yeah.
But if it's usually a walkout, you're not gonna have it from the side because
Exactly.
you don't have that space. So it's in the
Of course.
back.
Got you.
So then, if it's from the side, it's usually they say separate entrance.
Separate entrance. Okay.
Separate entrance.
And
okay.
This relates a lot back to what we said in terms of the interior upgrades, I think, as well, because someone would rather, I guess it wouldn't relate, but someone would rather pay a bit extra to have it already done for them
Of course.
than to go in, because I feel like permits, it could obviously be subjective, but I think the term permit, it's a bit intimidating.
But think about
because-
it this way: you do the math, and as a good real estate agent or a mortgage agent, if you did the math, so this property that I listed for, it was for $699. If you have a separate entrance or a walkout, or you finish that, let's say you spend about 50, 60,000, you can actually finish that space with a walkout.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Okay.
So you're at 760. That property would have been sold for about 880, 850, around there. That would be the return if that basement was done. Because the person buying, the mentality is, okay, this is 900, let's say. I'm just using round numbers. I can buy this property for $90,000 down payment. Whereas the other property, let's say it's 700, I buy it for 70,000. I'm just using 10%. So, but the basement will give you, let's say, on average, let's say 1,700 in Cambridge. Here in Toronto, you're looking at maybe 2,000, 2,200, 2,500. So it's manageable. It makes sense. Right?
Wait, let me ask you one last question.
Does that make sense, Steph?
It does make sense. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. You're saying that if the basement was completely finished and there was a walkout, it would add additional $60,000 to $70,000 in value?
No, more.
Okay.
It would cost you that much to build it.
Okay.
But it depends on the square footage. There's a lot of variables.
So
but
so
yeah.
let's say that it would add $100,000 in additional value.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this to the client?
If they had money.
Prior to even listing it, if they had the capital, you would tell them to do this to maximize?
Yeah. So instead of, let's say, I don't know, you're replacing the kitchen cabinet, and I would say, look, do a walkout.
Okay.
Do a walkout, because then the person knows that, oh, you know what? Look, this has a separate entrance. We can just finish it inside, even if you can afford that. Or for the time being, see, there's a lot of variables. If you can borrow money from family and friends and finish it, or if you speak to the tradespeople, and I've done this before. Look, on this particular project, it's just tight. Can I pay you in 3 months? Are you okay with that? And it has to do with your relationship. So if they charge me, let's say 8, I go, look, I'll give you 9, but can I pay you in 3 months?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to sell the property and I want to pay you then, but I want to maximize it. And if you have that relationship with your trades, they're okay with it.
You know what else we have to be okay with, guys?
Yeah.
And
Where
the
can they find you? That's the most important thing, because this is a very interesting
Yeah, it
topic
is.
that could go on for hours and hours and hours. But if they had more questions, where could they find you guys?
You guys can contact me at Mortgages by Ahmed on Instagram. My email is info@mortgagesbyahmed.ca. My website is also mortgagesbyahmed.ca.
And with me on Instagram, Caesar Homes Canada. And my website, caesarhomes.ca.
And we'll see them next time.
Yep.
See ya.